the online social science classes, and I am here, your social science teacher Sangeeta Behra. Good morning, students. Today I am back with my online social science classes again in front of you. So today we are going to start our online classes on the subject matter of geography of the class 10th, and the subject topic is resources and development. So as we before knows, what is resources? Resources in which we are going to get our needs fulfilled, right? It means resources are the process or resources are the functions of human activities which always used to fulfill the human needs for his survival, right? So here everything is available in our environment, isn't it? So how the human being use the environment for their own survival, we should learn it in this chapter, right? So we will start now. So first we will see this graph, how human being used to use nature or use environment for her or his survival. Independent relationship between nature, technology and institution. Human being used to use these three things. What three things? Physical environment, technology and then institution for completing their own needs, isn't it? So you can say it is technologically accessible, economical, feasible and culturally acceptable can be termed as resource. So here in this chapter we are going to learn how the resource and its development helps human beings for their own survival. Okay. So before knowing the classifications of resources, let's have a quick look on this figure number 1.2, which is also provided in your book. Okay, just check that one. It is the classification of resources. Normally the resources are being divided into two parts: the natural and human resources, the renewable and the non-renewable resources, the structural and institutions, the quantity and quality. The structures and institutions, quantity and quality is being divided, or it's being subdivided into the human resources, and the natural resources are being subdivided into the renewable and non-renewable resources. Okay, so the renewable and non-renewable resources are again being subdivided into more two parts. The renewable is divided into two subparts. Those are continuous or flow, which are the example of wind and water, and the biological, which are the examples of natural vegetation and wildlife. Again, the non-renewable part of the natural resources is also subdivided into two parts. Those are recyclable and non-recyclable. Recyclable means which we can recycle again, like some metals, and non-recyclable means which we can't be recyclable again, or we can't recycle it again. Those are fossil fuels. Okay, and due to this, the part of human resources are also being subdivided into two parts. Those are structures and institutions, quantity and quality. Okay, so after getting this common view of classification of resources, there are also some other ways which are being classified into four parts. Okay, like this, those are the main classified ways of resources: on the basis of origin, on the basis of exhaustibility, on the basis of ownership, and on the basis of status of development. Let's have a quick look on this also, which we can have a greater way of classification of resources. Okay, so you can say those classification as the types of resources also. So let's go with the types of resources which we just now discussed. Okay, so those are on the basis of origin, on the basis of exhaustibility, on the basis of ownership, and on the basis of state of development, right? So first we should discuss with the on the basis of origin, which is divided into two categories, the biotic resources and the abiotic resources. Let's go with the biotic resources. What is biotic resources? These are obtained from biosphere and have life such as human beings, flora and fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. Okay. And now what is the abiotic resources? Abiotic resources are those which are composed of non-living things such as rocks and metals. Okay. So, on the basis of exhaustibility, renewable resources and non-renewable resources are categorized. So, what we should know, what are the renewable resources? The resources which we can renew or we can recycle it. So, here we got the common view of renewable resources, which can be renewed or we can give a new look to them. Those are also known as replaceable resources. For example, solar energy we can take as a renewable resources, wind energy also, water also, and forests and wildlife also. As we already seen in the figure number 1.2, it is also again subdivided into two parts, continuous or flow. Okay. So now we should know about the non-renewable resources also. Non-renewable resources are those who can occur over a very long geological time period. Okay. In this time period, they takes millions of years for their own formations. Mostly minerals, such as some metals can be recyclable, but the fossil fuels cannot be recyclable. It comes under the non-recyclable resources. Okay. So here we also got the viewpoint of non-renewable resources. So now we should go for the number 2 point on the basis of ownership. What are those ownership? ऑनरशिप मीन्स आपकी अपनी प्रभुत्व वहाँ बनी होगी। जैसे हम लोग की अपनी खुद की ज़मीन हो, हम लोग की खुद की प्लांटेशन लैंड्स हो, या फिर हम लोग की खुद की कोई पॉन्ड्स हो जो कि सिर्फ हमारे ही ज़मीन पे मीन्स हमारे नाम वाली ज़मीन पे बनाई गई हो, वो क्या होती है? ऑनरशिप होता है। वी आर द ऑनर ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर रिसोर्स। ओके, सो हियर on the basis of ownership, these are also categorized into two parts, individual resources and community owned resources. What are the individual resources? Those resources which can be owned by some particular individual, means some particular person are having those ownership, like our Sanskar school, our director sir is having the ownership of that land, and they used to do the ownership works on that. Like the same thing, individual ownership resources means the person individually having the ownership on that resources. So here we got the common view of individual resources. So now here we can know the main logical behind the individual resources. Okay, these are also owned privately by individuals. Many farmers own land which is allotted to them by government against the payment of revenue. Means government used to give lands to the farmers to do their farming purposes. Okay, in that purposes they used to take the land from government and they will used to pay the revenue for that, and whatever profit they used to get, they use for themselves. Okay. So in villages there are people also with land ownership, but there are many people who are landless. So they used to take the land from government and they used to pay the revenue. Okay. Urban peoples having their own plots, houses, and other properties. Okay. So till now we already discussed about the individual owned resources, and we discussed about the urban and village individual resources, how the urban people and the rural people used to own their individual resources in their area. Okay, and the major examples of the individual resources are plantation area, pasture lands, ponds, water in wells, etc. which a particular individual own their own resources or having their ownership on that resources, okay, which is used for their own survival. So now we should go through the community owned resources, the second sub point of the resources on the basis of ownership, okay. There are resources which are accessible to all the members of the community. Means a particular community or the groups of the peoples have owned a particular area or a particular resource like ponds or big well or a temple area that is owned by the community is known as the community owned resources, okay. In villages mostly commonly the grazing grounds are there, the burial grounds are there, villages occasional areas are there. So the occasional resources are the public parks, picnic spots, playgrounds in urban areas, and in villages also we used to see these all things available for the community peoples or the group of peoples used to use those community area resources, or you can say community owned resources, okay. So now we should also get the ideas of national resources which are also used for this thing. Technically all the resources belong to the nations only, means whatever is the individual owned resources and whatever is the community owned resources, both are mostly, or you can say technically, belongs to the nation since, and whenever the government wants those areas they can also occupy that one. The country has legal powers to acquire even private properties for public goods, okay. As we already discussed that the nations are having their legal powers to acquire the whole properties, whether it will be the private one or it will be the government one for the public goods, okay. So all the minerals, water resources, forests, wildlife, land within the political boundaries and oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles, which may be the equivalent to 22.2 kilometers from the coast, termed as territorial water and resources therein belongs to the nation. So nation used to work out on these areas whenever they required it for the public goods or for the benefits of the public, okay. Like that, the national resources, the international resources are also there. There are international institutions which regulate some resources, such as the oceanic resources beyond 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone belongs to open ocean, and no individual country can utilize this without the concurrence of international institutions. Without their permission, they are not allowed. Not a single country or not an individual country are allowed to work out on the oceanic zone or the exclusive economic zones, okay. So here we can conclude the point number 3 on the basis of ownership, okay. Now the last and the list point on the basis of the status of development, we are going to conclude the main points. Those are potential resources, developed resources and stocks. So now we should have a look on potential resources, resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized. For example, western parts of the India, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat, those are having enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy, but so far these have not been developed properly, okay. Due to what? Due to nobody tried for that. As the wind and solar energy is so much expensive, that's why the even if the Rajasthan and Gujarat are having the enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy, it has not been developed till yet, okay. So now we will go for the developed resources also. Now we should know about the developed resources also. Resources which are surveyed and their quality and quantity have been determined for utilization. The development of resources depends on technology and levels of their feasibilities. So due to that quantity and quality, the developed resources are being utilized. Okay. So again, the last one are the stocks. Minerals in the environment which have the potential to satisfy human needs. But human beings do not have the appropriate technology to access this are termed as stocks. Okay. Reserves are the subset of stock which can be put into use with the help of existing technical know-how, but their use has not been started. This can be used for meeting future requirements. River water can be used for generating hydroelectric powers, but presently it is being utilized only to a limited extent. Thus, the water in the dams, forest, etc. is a reserve which can be used in the future. Okay, students, till now we can already completed the portion of classifications of resources which can be used for the benefits of the human being. So, lastly, you can complete this activity. Prepare a list of stock and reserve resources that you are familiar with from your local area. Okay. Complete this activity in your homework, and till then, stay healthy, stay safe, and in the next class, or we can say the part 2, we will go for the development of resources, planning of resources, and the resource planning in India, and how the soil reserves or resources are being used, land resources are being used in the India, we can discuss in our next classes. Okay. Till then, stay healthy, stay safe, and complete your activity. Thank you.